Alright, in this video what we're going to do is we're going to talk about page numbering, and we're also going to talk about snippets. Alright, so what we want to do right now is we're going to say Command N or Control N if you're in the PC. Alright, and then we're going to get to the new document dialog box. Alright, and what we're going to do is we're going to accept the defaults, the 51 by 66, which is a letter size document, and we're going to plug in, we want this thing to be 16 pages. 51 by 66, 16 pages. All right, and we're gonna want to make that facing pages so that it's going to set up much like a booklet. 51, 66, 16 pages, facing pages. All right, we're not going to worry about the columns or margins or bleeds. We're just going to have those parameters set up. We'll say create, and we're going to have something that looks like this. All right, we have our page 1, which you can see right here, and then it goes into the spreads 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down to 16, and 16 of course being the last page. Alright, so we have 1 through 16. Alright, great. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to start off by creating what is called a snippet. As you know, when you, or if you don't know, but when you are working with your master pages, alright, whatever you put on your master page is going to it will appear on every single page. So right now what I want to do is I'm going to double click on a master page. Alright, and for this exercise you're going to notice when you see the A master, it comes up as a spread. Alright, in other words, it comes up as a 2-page spread. Let me just zoom out so you can see this. Alright, so it comes up as a 2-page spread. What I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to delete one of these pages. Alright, so we just see one page. Alright, so now we have just a single master page. Okay, we still have our 16-page document, we just have a single master page item. Alright, and what I did was I already created a master that I'm going to go on this page, so I'm going to paste it in place right now, and it says section 1. Alright, so it says section header number 1. Alright, that's my master page item, and as you can see, as I put it on this one page, you can see that it put it on all the different pages going from 1 down to 16. Great. So the next thing that I want to do is I am going to create a frame at the bottom, and I'm going to put in my page numbers. So I'm still on the master, the A master. I'm going to create a frame at the very bottom, keeping it within the margins. All right, and you're going to notice it's going to be a text frame because there's my cursor flashing right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Command and the number 3. Alright, Command and number 3, if you're on a PC, it'd be Control and the number 3. And what you're going to see is something that looks like, well, not something that looks like, you're going to see the letter A, the capital letter A. Now, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see this. Alright, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to center it, alright, left and right. And then I'm going to go to the Selection tool. I'm going to go up to the Object menu in the Selection tool, drop down to Text Frame Options, and I'm going to change the alignment to say align to the bottom so that the A now will align to the bottom of this frame. But let's see what this A is doing. If I click on right now, I'm going to arbitrarily select on one of these pages. I'll select number 4, page number 4. And if you notice, as I clicked on page number 4, you're going to see that A basically is the number of the page. Alright, so we have 4, 5, 6. Well, you get the picture. So now I'm going to go back to master page A. So by clicking Command and the number 3, when you're in your text frame on your master, that will create your master page number item. And the letter A will correspond to the section, it will correspond to the master that you're working with. Alright, so let's say for example, I'm going to add another, and that's basically how we handle our numbering. So let's say I'm going to add another master, and I'm going to call it section header number 2. So what I'm going to do, well, before I do that, what I want to do is I'm going to take this item that I created right here on my master page A, all right, and then I'm going to export it out as a snippet. And the snippet is something that I can use to put anywhere on any of the document, because it's going to be an item that's going to be on the desktop, or I can put it anywhere. In this case, I'm going to put it on the desktop. so I can actually bring it into any document that I want. So let's say, for example, I select this item and you guys can create any kind of a snippet and put it on a page just to test it out. But I'm going to take this thing that I just created on master page A. I'm going to go to File. I'm going to drop down to where it says Export. And then I'm going to export this thing out as, I'm going to call this thing, I'll call it section number 2. All right. And I'm going to export it out as an InDesign when you drop down to it says Format. I'm going to export out as an InDesign snippet, and I'm going to put it on my desktop. All right. So I'm going to say Save. All right. So it saves it right to my desktop. All right. As an InDesign snippet. So what does that mean? That means that I can create a new document, and let's all do this together. We're going to say Command N. All right, we're going to create a new document. Again, we're going to accept the defaults because this is just a practice. All right, 51 by 66, and we'll just make that one page because we just want to, like we're creating another document that we're going to work on. We'll say Create. All right, and then what I could do is I can go to File. All right, and then I can go to Place. All right, and then I can navigate my way to that section number 2 IDMS that I created. That's the snippet. All right, and just move this over so you can see this. And we'll say Open. All right, and there it is. I can just put it in, I can create the snippet, and I can just put it anywhere that I want to put it on any new document. All right, so that's how we created a snippet. So let's close this one down. We're not going to save anything because we're just going to go back to our original document, our 16-page document, all right, because we're going to take that section number 1, and we're going to create a new master page. So what we're going to do now is we're back at master page A, at the A master, all right, and you can always tell where you are because you'll see the little A here, and then also in the lower left-hand corner, you can see something that says A master, so that'll always let you know where you are. All right, so now what I'm going to do is in the page panel, in that little grid, I'm going to click on that, and let me just move this over so you can see it because it's clicking off to the side. All right, I'm going to say New Master. All right, it's going to be Master Page B. All right, I'll say Based on None, and I'm going to say make that one page. I just want one page. All right, so I'll say OK. And if you notice, there's our Master Page B, which is right underneath Master Page A. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a File. All right, and I'm going to do a Place, and I'm going to navigate my way over to my snippet. All right, I'm going to open that up. All right, and then I'm going to put this, if you notice, I'm going to put it right up in the upper left-hand corner, drop it in there. All right, and I'm going to change that number 1, I'm clicking there, change that number 1 to number 2. All right, so now we have section header number 2, and we have on Master A, section number 1. Okay, if I see that. All right, now let's go down to what I want to do now is I want to break this thing up into sections. In other words, I want to have pages 1 through 8 will be section A. I'm sorry, section 1. And then pages 9 through 16 will be section B or 2. I'm sorry. So B is going to be 9 through 16, and section number 1 is going to be, of course, 1 through 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on, in the page panel, click on page number 9, put my finger on the Shift key, so I select 9 through 16. Then I'm going to go up to this little grid in the upper right-hand corner, and I'm going to say Apply Master Pages. All right, right there. And I want, right now, A master is what is the master that's there right now. I'm going to switch it over to the B master, and I'll say OK. And if you notice, from page 9 to 16, okay, is now the B master, and you can see it has the letter B, at the top of every single one of these pages. But let's double click on page 9, and guess what, class? As we're looking at it, we're going to see that, the page numbering stops at page 8. And the reason why the page numbering stops at page 8 is because the A master has the numbering on it, has the numbering values on it, but the B master, let's double click on B, does not. The A master does, the B master does not. So we need the B master to have those numbering values as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to the A master. Using the selection tool, we're going to select that frame that has the letter A in it. we're going to copy that. Command C or Control C if you're on the PC. All right, then we're going to double click on the B master. Then you're going to go up to where it says Edit, drop down to where it says Paste, and you can see something that says Paste in Place. So in other words, when you say Paste in Place, it's going to put that frame exactly where it is on the A master. And guess what? If you notice that, I'm going to click off so you can see this, look at that. Now this is no longer A, it's B, because now it's part of the B master. And then when we double click on number 9, now you can see it's picking up 8, 9, 10, 11, etc., going down to 16. That's great. So now we have all these pages numbered. But let's just say, for example, we want section number 2 to start off with its own numbering convention. All right. In other words, section 1 is going to go from 1 through 8, and then section 2 is going to also go from 1 through 8. Well, here's how we solve that problem. While you are still, make sure you double click on page 9. So you make sure you're on page 9, and you'll know you're on page 9 because you're going to see that it's highlighted here in the page menu. All right. At this point now, we're going to go to Layout, drop down to it says Numbering and Sections options. Click on this. All right. So we're going to say we want to start this section, start page numbering at 1. All right. And then we're going to have a prefix for that, and we're going to just type in the capital letter S. All right. So that's going to be, and let's just say, yeah, S is good. We can say S2, S and the number 2, S2 for section 2. All right, but we're not going to include the prefix in the numbering. We just want to give it its own identity. Start numbering at 1, S2, we'll say OK. Now, once we've done that, as you can see, first let's take a look at the panel. The panel here shows that going from 1 through 8 is just normal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But then starting in section 2, you have S21, S22, S23. Now remember, the S2, those are the section markers, okay? But guess what? You're not going to see the section markers or the prefix because we opted not to show that. So all you're going to see in the actual pages is where section 1 ends, you're going to have 8. Then section 2 is going to pick up with number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., going all the way down to 8. So you're going to have 8 pages in each section, each one having their own numbering convention, if you will. All right, and we are going to do a little more with this page numbering further as we go further into the class when we lay out an actual book. All right, so that is pages and snippets and page numbering.